tumbling down of the economic base, the Great Depression of 1929. In the current day, the US dollar to Indian rupees conversion rate creates an impression that the stable and growing economic system in the United States is invincible and can never get affected even if the global market is facing a blow. However, if we look back into the past century, to be particular in the late 1920s, we cannot really come to the conclusion that the US economy is perfect and invincible. This major event in the history is known as the Great Depression. Before delving deep, it is important to know what really happened which led to this mishap in the history of the United States. After the end of the First World War, the United States emerged as the victorious, and the beginning of the 1920s there was a rapid industrial growth in the United States, followed by the invention of several new electronic gadgets. This boosted the rate of employment, and the salaries were also pretty high. People were having a good amount of money to invest in the banks, and they also started investing in the stock market as the returns were pretty lucrative. Stock market becomes so popular that people started to take a loan from banks to invest in the stock market. From 1922 to 1929, the investments were up by 218%, which never happened before. Everything was going great so far, but life in the US dreamland was soon to be tumbling down. The companies overestimated their growth by seeing the buying power of the market and started to produce more. However, the people were investing more and not buying many things, which was followed by inflation. Inflation is never good for any market. The wages started to fall down, many people lost their jobs. People who were taking debts from the banks now had to pay higher interest rates. The series of negative events reached its peak on 24th of October 1929, which was called the Black Thursday, as this marked the beginning of the Great Depression. The prices of the stocks fell down heavily, and people started to sell out their stocks as soon as the market opened the next day. And on 29th of October, a record-breaking 16.4 million shares were sold, and the market lost around $15 billion on that single day, which highly affected the economy of the country. The market value of dollar became almost nothing as people started making kites out of the dollar bills. Unemployment reached its highest in the history of the United States, as almost 25% of the people were out of jobs. It can be said that the Great Depression was the worst economic turndown in the 20th century. However, it was not only that the United States was affected by this depression, but due to rapid globalization, there was a huge impact in the markets of the entire world. The stock prices fell down severely. On the negative side, it led to the rise of Hitler and his Third Reich. Losing faith in the other powers, the people in Germany were convinced that Hitler was their supreme leader, and the Nazi Party became stronger, ultimately leading to the war in 1939. However, this war was a boon in disguise, as it created job opportunities in the US, especially in the military and the ammunition industry. By the time of the end of the war, the market in the United States was becoming stable and things were getting normal. The then President of the US, Franklin D. Roosevelt, created a Security Exchange Commission and also an insurance corporation to ensure that this event is never repeated in the future. This event of the Great Depression might not happen in the United States ever again, but has taught us a significant lesson that no one is invincible.